Okay, so here is part 3 of how to HOTS. And this video is on Brightwing. Basically, I'm only going to go over characters that have a bit of a unique playstyle if how to HOTS. If they're completely standard, this video is on Brightwing. Let me just get that muted. Okay, so yeah, if they're completely standard character that has no real exceptionally special playstyle, I probably won't go over them. But I will take requests on in the comments and stuff of videos people want to see. So, anyways, this is the third one, and it's going to be on Brightwing because I feel he's a bit unique. And yeah. So first we'll go over his abilities. Arcane Flare, so it deals damage in an area and deals greater damage to targets in the center. Pretty self-explanatory. Polymorph, disable and damage enemy. So what this does is it essentially turns them into a little sheep and they lose all buffs that they have on them, and yeah, it's quite good. Pixie Dust increases an ally's movement speed and blocks basic attacks. So this is essentially, and it's the same animation as in my first video of the 3, ETC. If you see, I took the block talent, and the animation of that talent is literally the exact same as the animation that Pixie Dust puts on people. So you basically are giving them block, and it's a movement speed buff as well, so that it's not the exact same. It's a little stronger because it's a skill, not just a talent. And yeah, it's quite good, and it can get augmented to be better. So, Soothing Mist. Soothing Mist is Brightwing's passive, and basically every 5 seconds it's gonna pulse and heal all the damaged allies around you. So that's quite good. Give me 1 second here. Just gathering the old thoughts. Yeah. So Brightwing is pretty unique. In that his mount is actually not a mount. It is a teleport to any allied player on the map. Yeah. So that's a pretty big deal. And you'll see why. So Blink Heal is one of the 2 ulti options for Brightwing, and it instantly teleports you to the ally that you targeted on and heals a good chunk of their health. Now, I don't take this ulti personally, and I don't know if there are situations where I would take it over this ulti. There could be, but I can't think of one right now. Anyway, his second ulti is Emerald Wind, which creates an expanding ring that pushes and damages enemies away. So, why is this good, and what kind of team do you want Brightwing on? Well, it is essentially Janna's ulti, or any other ulti that has a character push all the enemy characters away. What's extra good is that this ring expands quite slowly, not as instantly as Janna's ring from League of Legends, and it will linger for quite a while. So if an enemy is right on top of you, it'll push them all the way away, but if an enemy is riding in towards you, it will also catch them, even if they didn't start in its initial range. So anything heading towards you gets pushed away by this Emerald Wind. And it's a really strong disengage ulti, and it is great with allies like Sergeant Hammer that don't want people on top of them. And that is the second video I played, so you can go back and watch that if you haven't seen it, and you can see very easily how a Brightwing and Sergeant Hammer would be a good duo. So here we go. Arcane Precision. I'm not going to go over all the talents, actually. In this tier, increasing the number of blocks to 2 versus getting a ward in a game where vision is so lacking and so important is not worth it. It's not like ETC, where I took his block instead of the scouting drone, because he's going to be right in the front line. However, Brightwing is going to be in the mid lines or back lines, and he's not going to be taking all the hits and doesn't need to take one of these other talents, and can take the ever important super awesome scouting drone. So yeah, in the second tier of talents, we have Protective Shield, Anti-Magic Powder, Envenom, and Promote. I haven't fully made up my mind in this tier of talents whether I like Protective Shield better or Anti-Magic Powder better. It's hard to say. This is on a 1-minute cooldown, whereas this buffs a spell you can use more often, like significantly more often. So I might say take Anti-Magic Powder. I would probably take Anti-Magic Powder overall, but Protective Shield is not completely ruled out. But maybe Anti-Magic Powder, I think now I've decided, is a little bit better. So this tier of talents, this is one of the core talents that makes the build on Brightwing, where you will have your Soothing Mist passive activate each time you use a basic ability, but it's only 50% as good as the regular Soothing Mist that just goes off every 5 seconds. But because of the spammability of your abilities, you will just be blasting out heals left, right, and center, and it is a great trait. Let me just... Yeah, and this is one of the very important must-take traits on this character. Here, I've already explained what I think about the alties, and I would take Emerald Wind 99% of the time, as far as I can tell. Okay, so here. Now, what we want to do, because we're going to be using abilities so frequently, is make abilities give us more bang for their buck. So we want our Sticky Flare, which we're gonna be using Arcane Flare all the time. We want it to slow targets by 30% for 3 seconds, because this helps your team chase, and it also adds a utility component to an ability that otherwise on a support character does pretty much nothing but damage. Like, we're not, our aim with this character is not to deal damage, though it's a nice bonus that it does deal a good amount of damage if you hit them with the center portion of it. But we want that ability to slow, so that we can help our teammates get kills. So, level 16 talents, we are going to be taking... this is actually a tough one as well. Targets being slowed by 50% for the entire duration that they are a little animal is quite good, but also if you have a more coordinated team, targets taking 25% more damage when they are a critter is insane. It's it just lets your team essentially like erase a target with a lot less investment than it would otherwise take. So, and then this faster cooldowns near full health is pretty cool because we're constantly using abilities, and thus that allows us to, with this talent, the regenerative mists, every time we use an ability, we will splooge out a little heal on our allies. But what I find, unfortunately, with this talent is that yes, you can keep yourself above 80% life because you are constantly healing like crazy, and your abilities regenerate 50% faster, so you can heal essentially 50% more. But the problem is, I find you get mana problems when you take this talent. You really do just burn through your mana so fast. So if there was a better way to sustain your mana, which there isn't in his kit, in his talent list at least, this would be the best one to take hands down. However, I find in general, and I may try one game with this, one game with one of the other ones, but I find it gives you mana issues. Your cooldowns cool down so fast that you're using your abilities so quickly that you run out of mana in absolutely no time flat. So, other than that, I would say take this if you're looking to get picks, and take this if you're looking to get picks and have a much more coordinated team. This like generates a pick essentially, and this gets a guaranteed kill if your teammates are already there. Plus, we've already taken a slow component on another skill, so that might make me lean towards the taking more damage, because it is nice if everything's slowed, but having a slow already, if you make them take 25% more damage, that's pretty good. So, I like taking continuous wins here, but I would say Storm Shield is the other big option, because adding 2 additional Novas that deal 25% of the original Nova's damage is good, because there are some characters that can become unstoppable, which I believe Sonya when she ulties, Muradin when he ulties, some other characters can give themselves buffs and things that will ignore the first wave. But generally, if there are 3 waves going out, one after another, their abilities might fade off that are allowing them to penetrate the first wave, and you will guaranteed push away and keep away all the enemy players that are attacking you. But Storm Shield, if you feel that the one wave is enough and you don't need a crazy disengage, Storm Shield is really good for in a fight with your team. You're basically just going to give all your allies 20% more health for 3 seconds, which in a team fight is very, very huge. So yeah. So we'll see what I take in this game. It's a little bit, some of the talents, like I've said, are a bit situational. And let me see if I can demonstrate a good Brightwing for you guys. A lot of talking today. And like I was saying, Brightwing can get anywhere on the map the moment he needs